In the impala herds, the mating season is over and most of the reproductive females are pregnant. Impalas have a gestation period of 7 months, but the females can extend this if the first rains are late. Unfortunately for them, this puts them under the most nutritional demand through the toughest time of the year. It's no longer the males who are under attack, but the pregnant females that are most vulnerable. And they now come under the closest scrutiny from predators. This lioness would normally not be stalking impala in the heat of the day, but because the females are pregnant and slower, her chances of catching one are good. A careful approach, freezing each time the herd looks her way, gets her within striking distance. Within a few months, it would have been worth an attempt. But for now, the impala are probably still too fast, and she lets them go. One of the keys to the impala's success during the savage season is the ability to switch feeding habits. Most other antelope that share habitat with the impalas are specialized in only one form of foraging. The wildebeest, for example, feeds on grasses of a certain height and quality. During the dry months, when that kind of food is no longer available and water is scarce, they move in large numbers away from the degrading grasslands. Kudu also come under feeding pressure in the dry season, although they can survive without having to migrate. They are specialized leaf eaters, or browsers, and feed on bushes and trees on the edge of the plains. Impala, however, can take advantage of both food sources and switch easily from grazing to browsing. They have the ability to eat fallen leaves when outcompeted by other browsers, and can even resort to digging for underground chutes in dried-up waterholes. It is this flexibility of behavior and the ability to take advantage of every nutritional opportunity that makes the impala one of Africa's toughest competitors. Deep into the dry months, some species of acacia tree come into full bloom, attracting the attention of troops of baboons. They climb to the top of the trees and feed on the nutritious shoots and nectar-filled flowers. As the troop greedily picks at the blooms, they drop more than they eat. Impalas know this and once again are on hand to take advantage. They move in under the trees and help themselves to a great protein boost during this lean time. Along with the baboons, there is another hugely successful generalist living in the impala's realm, who's not only able to change feeding behavior, but can change and manipulate the very environment in which it lives. Elephants feed along the ecotone during the dry months, reaching for the foliage they need to fuel their 6-ton bodies. They too will remain with the impalas and baboons, and the 3 species' lives will stay closely linked until the coming of the rains. These giants have a fascinating method of harvesting a food source, directly available to no other species: the pods of the camelthorn tree, Acacia albida. With their great strength and size, they could easily tear limbs and pods from the tree or simply push the tree over. Instead, they carefully shake the tree, causing the pods to drop to the ground. They then use that ultimate feeding tool, the trunk, to deftly gather the rich morsels in a delicate grasp and pop them into a cavernous mouth. This behavior is remarkable in many ways. It benefits the elephant, who not only gets a rich meal, but seems to understand that by leaving the tree standing, there's a guarantee of other harvests of pods for years to come. It also benefits other inhabitants of the ecotone. And once again, the first to move in are the impala. Their teeth and jaws are not at all suited to chewing and swallowing pods, but again, their adaptability affords them a protein-rich meal. Others also arrive to take part in the feast. The elephant and impala dislodge seeds, blooms, and insects in their feeding, and birds like red-billed quilias and tiny blue waxbills take advantage. During these harsh times, resourcefulness becomes the key to survival. And again, it's the ability to change feeding behavior that helps individuals make it. This is displayed by an experienced male baboon who's had to survive other harsh winters. It seems he's learned that the river, before it dries up completely, holds some underwater secrets. Crocodiles keep baboons from going anywhere near the water under normal circumstances, but these are desperate times. It's hard to understand how a behavior so foreign to this animal could have evolved, but with remarkable skill, he feels for the underground bulb of a water lily and removes it to safety. This truly amazing new behavior seems to leave the wise old fella totally unmoved. With great dexterity, he peels and eats the succulent shoots before tearing into the food-packed storage organ of the plant. Some animals have the ability to easily relocate to more permanent waterways during the dry months. A resident fish eagle could fly to the nearest permanent river in less than a day. He's a highly specialized hunter of fish and amphibians, with huge talons adapted to the grasping and holding of slippery, wriggling prey. With the drying of the waterways, his continued presence here is somewhat of a mystery. The answer is, once again, in the ability to make a slight change in behavior. An alternative source of food has become available. Thousands of turtle doves fly in from miles around to drink at the last remaining water. All the fish eagle must do is adjust from prey that swims to prey that flies. magnificent predator, so linked with the waterways of Africa, will have a winter of plenty, with no competition in this strange, dry land. Not only is predation on the increase, but the impalas are having a tougher time at the waterholes. Predators often take up residence in the dry season to ambush prey. If a pride of lions decide to take a siesta at the water's edge, the impala will have to wait. The dry winds of winter and the furnace-like days of early spring conspire to drain the earth of all its precious moisture. At waterholes in the area, the concentrations of elephants leave devastated vegetation for miles around. The impalas have to move long distances from feeding grounds to waterholes, exposing themselves to attack. When they arrive, they are usually again forced to wait, as they're outcompeted by the bigger and stronger animal. It seems things could not get tougher for the resident impala herds, but they do. Impala make up more than half of the diet of wild dogs, and with uncanny timing, this pack is moving into the area to find a den for the arrival of new pups. The dogs usually set up home in a den abandoned by previous tenants such as porcupines or warthogs, and the first order of business is to expand and modify the tunnels. Once the breeding female has given birth to the pups underground, the pack is anchored to the area for at least 3 weeks. They set up territory in the area by scent marking at established marking spots around the edge of the plains. Although they hunt primarily in daylight, they often set off to hunt before dawn, and while they're in the area, they work mostly along the ecotone in the territory of the impala. This is Africa's most efficient social predator. Once they have selected a target and stalked close enough, they seldom miss their intended quarry. Again, it is an exhausted male impala that is caught. With a method of killing that appears cruel, dogs are much maligned as vicious, unfeeling brutes. But they kill quickly and share the spoils evenly among themselves. All the while at the waterholes, the situation becomes more and more serious. As thunderstorms threaten to break the desperate grip of the dry season, bull elephants line up patiently in a well-established hierarchy, waiting their turn to drink. This is an organized rotation of dominant individuals and small groups of allies, sometimes standing 50 deep, waiting hours for their turn. The meager, muddy pools. The female herds with their babies are much more anxious about traveling across open areas and drinking at the waterholes. This year, the herds are under extra stress. The distances they have to travel daily between feeding grounds and water has been made even greater by a huge fire that has swept through the northern part of Botswana. They're tired and edgy, and there is an undercurrent of thinly suppressed panic in the nervous herds. Quite often, 2 or 3 breeding groups move in together, causing confusion at the waterhole.